Last week, a group of white supremacists, led by Richard Spencer, returned to Charlottesville's Robert E. Lee statue with tiki torches in hand, vowing to return to the city again and again. But there's still political and legal fallout from the last big march Spencer and groups like his foisted on Virginia. In August, when white supremacists violently clashed with counter-protesters, one of those counter-protesters, Heather Heyer, was killed in the violence, and several others were injured. Now, 11 of those injured that day are suing Unite the Right rally leaders, including Richard Spencer. The federal lawsuit accuses the organizers of intentionally inciting violence against people based on race, religion, and ethnicity. And joining me now is one of the plaintiffs in that lawsuit against the Unite the Right rally organizers, Marissa Blair. Her fiancé and fellow plaintiff, Marcus Martin, could not be here because he's still recovering from injuries after being hit by the car that killed Heather Heyer. Such harrowing pictures. We also have the attorney pursuing the case, Robbie Kaplan. Thank you both for being here. And Robbie, people may know you from a landmark civil rights case that you did that made gay marriage the law of the land. So I think people should know that your work precedes you.
Thank you. And you know, my client in that case, Edie Windsor, died about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And part of me thinks she's looking down at us from heaven.
Yes, she is. Yeah, and she probably has some choice words for the Unite the Right people.
I guarantee you she would.
Yeah, let's talk about your lawsuit. Those pictures, Marissa, of your boyfriend being injured, sort of flying through the air as that car hit him, are so harrowing. We were just talking in the break about the fact that when you guys went to that rally, what did you think you were going to confront?
We thought we were going to confront Nazis, white supremacists. We thought we were going to confront hate. That's what our plan was, to confront hate, to spread love, to show them that it's more of us than it is of you, and we don't want you in our city. Did you get the sense that the violence that was then perpetrated against you was preordained? Do you think it was planned, or did it feel spontaneous? When we were on 4th Street, where the car actually rammed into the protesters, we automatically knew it was intentional. We knew from when we went to the rally that people were saying, oh, violence is going to happen, it might be dangerous, and we knew that on the face. But for someone to ram a car through a crowd of peaceful protesters, we didn't expect it. But then finding out all the evidence and everything like that, it's like we were in a war zone. We didn't know what they were conspiring against online, in group meetings. We just knew, hey, they're coming to spread their hate, and we're going to be out there to protect our city. Yeah, and Roberta, talk about what is the basis of this lawsuit. You know, you had this violence happen. How can you then sue the organizers because of the violence?
Sure. For many, many years in this country, it has been illegal to incite violence or threaten people for violence, or to plan to create violence and create a violent riot, which is essentially what happened. In addition to that, we are suing under laws that were passed during Reconstruction, the Ku Klux Klan Act and other acts, to truly enforce the 13th and the 14th Amendment in the South. Those acts were used successfully, those laws were used successfully to beat the Klan. And now it's time to beat the new Klan and the Nazis and all the other people.
You're going to sue them bankrupt, essentially. You're trying to do, but a lot of people sued Klan organizations to deprive them of their money.
We're suing them for compensatory and punitive damages.
Now, we were talking in the break about this whole ramming people with a car aspect of this. For people who don't, lurk in the dark web, people may not know that this is a meme. This is not a spontaneous thing. There is actually a meme on the far right about hitting people with a car.
No, absolutely. In connection with Charlottesville in particular, we detail this in our complaint at page 68 of a 96-page complaint. We talk about detailed messages they had on the chat rooms where they would show pictures of tractors and call it, rather than a tractor, introducing John Deere's new multi-lane protester digester. And they would talk about whether it's legal in North Carolina or Virginia to do that, and they would encourage each other to do it. And then here's my favorite part. They would all do smiley face emojis.
Wow.
When they talked about it.
And this is not something, Marissa, that you had any idea about when you showed up at this rally?
This is nothing that we had any idea of. And I feel like maybe if we did have the information, if we did know that they were inciting violence, that violence was bound to happen, that we may not have been out there.
Yeah. And the police are not a part of this lawsuit. We just make that very clear. This is suing the organizers of the rally. But when you got to the rally, did you get the sense that the police understood the magnitude of the threat against you?
I don't think that they were really ready for what was going to happen, maybe because they didn't know either. But the main focus of this case is on the ones who actually perpetrated the violence.
Yeah.
Yes, the police may not have been 100% ready, may not have, established what they needed to establish, but the main point is that the organizers of this are the ones to blame.
Yeah, these rallies have vowed to keep coming back to Charlottesville. Is that a component of your complaint, that they are continuing to try to terrorize the people of the city?
Yeah, so they just came back, as you mentioned in your lead-in. They call it, I think Spencer called it Charlottesville 3.0.
Yeah.
We are seeking injunctive relief in this case, and I think part of that injunctive relief, we want to get discovery to create it the way we want, but I think part of that injunctive relief is to make sure there's not going to be any Charlottesville 4.0 or 5.0, and there's not going to be it anywhere else, like Shelbyville, I know they were talking about. There's not going to be any Shelbyville 1.0 or 2.0.
Well, how do you get around this? How do you get around the First Amendment freedom of assembly piece of this, that can you stop somebody from coming back to a city if they want to? Sure,
no. The First Amendment protects peaceable assembly. And if they just want to peaceably assemble and say they're hateful, racist, horrible anti-Semitic, homophobic things, as long as they do it peaceably, they have an absolute First Amendment right to do that. But that's not what happened here. This wasn't peaceable assembly. This wasn't speech that was divorced from violence. It was speech encouraging, fomenting, and planning violence.
In advance.
In advance, and that's never been protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah, and we're saying, we saw the pictures earlier where for you, he actually pushed you out of the way just before he was hit by the cars. You were very nearly injured
I was very nearly injured. He's actually my fiance, so definitely going to marry him.
Okay, yeah, yes.
But yeah, he sealed the deal.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he's, he'll tell you, his physical injuries will heal, but mentally he'll never be the same. None of us will. We've, noticed it in our own relationship with our friends, our family, my employer. Like, we're just mentally, we're never going to be the same. Physical injuries will heal, but mentally, it's horrific.
Yeah, I mean, we have a situation where one of the people who was beaten by a gang of these neo-Nazis was himself arrested, and on the word of one of them, he's now facing charges. It's absolutely bizarre what's happening. The two of you are heroic for taking them on. We wish you the best of luck. Please come back and update us on the lawsuit. We really appreciate you. Marissa Blair, the soon-to-be married Marissa Blair, and Rick Kaplan, thank you all very much. We appreciate it. All right, and coming up, beyond Charlottesville, what happened the night the Nazis came to New York? Don't go away.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.